Hi GCS. Hi, it's Mrs. Phillips, and I just wanted to come to you as we're getting really close to school starting. The teachers and the staff are so excited to welcome you back to Grace, and we just want you to be able to come here to school knowing that yes, you're going to learn, but you are loved and you are cared for. So what I thought might be helpful is if I showed you some things about what the school building is going to look like. And some of the things that we are going to do just a little bit differently this year. We are taking really careful precautions and have safety measures in place to make sure that we all stay safe. So I'm going to take you on a little tour, and we're going to start outside. So if you can imagine in the morning when you come to school, you would come to the back property if you're an elementary student or a middle school student. And I'm not going to go too deep into what that looks like, but just imagine that preschool, you would be at the west door. So in any case, whether you are going into the middle school, coming into the elementary building, or you're over at the preschool door, you are going to see these dots on the ground. So these are fun dots, okay? And the purpose of these dots is really to give you a picture of what 6 feet apart looks like. So one of the things that we are doing, besides lots of hand washing and lots of hand sanitizing, is making sure that we do something called social distancing, which is to keep you at about 6 feet apart from each other, and that just keeps us safe. Doesn't mean that you can't talk to each other or laugh with each other or just have a good time with each other, but just generally speaking, we thought it would be really helpful if you had something to look at that would give you a picture of what it looks like to be about 6 feet apart. So you can see these dots will go all the way to the door. And might I mention, this entrance is now the entrance for all of our kindergarten through 4th grade students. 5th grade through 8th grade is in the middle school building. And I'll show you that in a bit. But kindergarten through 4th, this is your entrance. Preschool, you will go to the west door as you always do. You will see these types of dots as well. So come with me and I'll show you what it looks like inside the school building. Here we go. All right, GCS students, so just imagine you have arrived, you have come in the door here as a kindergarten through 4th grade student, and if you look down at the floor, you will see colorful dots. So these dots, again, represent a 6-foot distance that you're going to try to just maintain as we're going through the building. So let's go on down here, and real quickly, we will just take a peek down the preschool hallway. All right, GCS preschool families, this is your preschool door. Mrs. Senya will be sending out a lot of information that is very detailed and very specific to preschool, but I will just mention this is the door that you will be coming to for extended care. So that's different from last year. Extended care and your normal drop-off between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Our teachers and staff will come out to receive your child and bring them safely here into the building. As a side note for preschool, and you will hear this or read this in the information that Mrs. Senya will send out, all of our preschool students will immediately go to the restroom to wash their hands before they go to the classroom. They will also wash their hands before they leave at the end of the day. So those same dots that we showed you outside before, those dots will also exist here so that preschool students can also have a sense of what it means to have that safe distance between themselves and the next person in line. All right, kindergarten through 4th grade students, you have come into the building. You are right outside the chapel where the 3 steps are located to get down to the B level. So you are now going to divide into 3 different directions based on your grade level. And this is something, again, you will get very used to and we will help you with, because we will all be available, especially on that first day and those first couple of weeks, to help make sure you know exactly where to go. But 2nd grade, you are going to follow the path. We have dots all the way down those stairs into the classrooms, your 2 classrooms downstairs. And then 4th grade, you are going to head down the B level hallway, and you are going to end up in your classrooms down towards the end of the hallway. For kindergarten, first and third, I want to show you how to get to your classes. So follow me. Okay, so kindergarten, first and third grade. So you have entered the building, you have followed the dots past the main office, and actually if you want to look at this floor, we have some other dots here for parents to see what social distancing will look like if you are dropping off your child late, you've been to an appointment, you're dropping them off late, or you're picking them up early. We have specific dots for parents to see how to socially distance and then come into the main office. And then we have our color dots again for students. So you're gonna follow these dots all the way up the stairs. So let's go up the stairs and then I'll show you what it looks like upstairs in the kindergarten, first and third grade classrooms. All right, kindergarten, first and third grade students, here we are. This is your hallway. And we don't have a lot of things yet up on the walls, but that's coming. We're still working on that, but you can see that the dots are down so that you will again have that point of reference to know what it looks like to spread apart from your neighbor and to be safe. So let's stop at Mrs. Grayley's classroom. I wanted you to see what it looks like so that you can see it looks pretty normal in terms of the types of things that we do in kindergarten. There's just a lot more that's going to happen behind the scenes in terms of cleaning. A lot more that's going to take place during the day, after school hours, and I won't go into all those details, but we are following what the Ohio Department of Health is telling us to do in terms of a cleaning protocol. So just know that that's going on during the day and after school hours. But I want you to see how the students are, how their desks are all lined up. This is what you're going to see in every classroom. So again, this is something that we are following in those guidelines that the Ohio Department of Health has put out in how to have your desks all in a row, facing the same direction, but socially distanced. And that's one of the things that we're able to do here. This is a blessing because we are a smaller school, because we have more space, that we've been able to spread ourselves out and then have students in an environment where education can take place as normal in terms of the education, but just the safety protocol has changed. So we want to make this experience as normal as possible for students. That's critically important. But again, behind the scenes, there's just a lot that's going on to make sure that everything is done in the safest manner possible based on what our public health authorities are giving us in terms of suggestions and guidelines. So we're gonna go on down the hallway and then I'll show you the fourth grade and then we'll go over to the other building. So here we go. Okay, so one of the things that we have added is called a water bottle filler. So students, I'm sure you remember that we have used these water fountains in the past. As you can see, we've taped these off. So you cannot use this part of the water fountain, but this is a water bottle filler. So you are going to want to bring your water bottle every day. Make sure that your name is on it. Bring it filled to school. When you come to school, make sure it's filled. And then throughout the day, you'll have opportunities to come and refill your bottle. One of the things that's really cool about this, so this water bottle filler actually has UV light that filtrates the water before it gets into your bottle. So just another little piece of safety that we're offering as we put together a place where you can get water, because you're going to need that throughout the day. One thing I will just remind you as well, yes, we still have all of our lockers, but we will not be using any of these lockers. This just is impossible to do with social distancing. But again, with the size school that we are, we can definitely transfer this material into the classroom and still not make it cluttered. It'll be very organized with crates and that type of thing. But just as a side note, we will not be using the lockers. So I want to show you in our restrooms another addition that we've made. Right, so I'm in a restroom and I want you to see a change that we've made. We have replaced our faucets. So these are now automatic faucets. We will also continue to use our hand dryer, we also will have paper towels as well. The paper towels are, I think, very helpful as you're leaving. So if you dry your hands and then you use the hand towels on the actual doorknob as you're opening the door. And that's something, again, all these are little things, but we will help you students as you come into the school. We're gonna make sure to help you to understand the importance of hand washing throughout the day. So let's go on, we'll go downstairs and we'll look at some of our other classrooms. All right, welcome to a 4th grade classroom. So we're back to our B level. We were just on the D level with kindergarten 1st and 3rd. On this level, the B level, the only grade level is 4th grade. So first of all, I want to make sure that you see in every single classroom, we have hand sanitizers that will be used constantly throughout the day as well. So as students come into the class, go out of the class, they will always be using hand sanitizers on top of the hand washing that I just mentioned. And then one of the other pieces I want to show you in here, these are air filtration systems. And I have a lot of data on this that I will not go into right now, but in terms of how it filtrates any sort of air particles, and especially those particles that have any sort of virus. These are in each of our classrooms. On top of that, we have changed our HVAC system so that the air intake does not just circulate the air, but it pulls it in from outside. So we get fresh outside air coming into our buildings. You can see in the 4th grade classroom, again, things are not completed in here, of course, but you can see that we do have the desks that we set up, and they are socially distanced. So again, we're able to accommodate our students and the enrollment in a way that is very, very safe. Okay, so this is one of our former 5th grade classrooms. And the reason that the 5th grade are moved over to the middle school building is because we needed more space. So we have moved them into larger rooms so that we could socially distance all of those students. So in turn, what we're going to do is we're going to use these 2 classrooms as our extended care classrooms, with that 4th grade classroom I just showed you as kind of a backup if we need it. So you can see on the floor, the dots are already on the floor. They are, again, spaced appropriately to create a safe environment. These are placed this way so that when the students come in and they're getting their snack, they are going to have a spot to sit and know where to sit. They can still obviously talk with each other and enjoy each other's company, but we're doing it in a safe manner. There are a lot more details about extended care that I will not go into in this video. You're going to get a separate email that will explain everything about extended care and the changes that are taking place. This area, by having extended care here, I will tell you, will make it extremely convenient and safe for our parents to be able to drop off students that will come right here into the classrooms, and then also with dismissal. Just creates a better, more convenient, and most importantly, more safe environment for the extended care to function in the building, and then of course as they go outside to the playground. I will pause and I will say extended care students will all have to wear masks. There is no way that we can keep all of those grade levels apart from each other, which we are doing during the school day. That's something that, as we talk to the Ohio Department of Health almost on a daily basis, one of the things that I think they're so impressed with is that we are able to contain these very small groups of students, the class groups, and keep them in those same groups throughout the day, in the cafeteria, on the playground, and of course in their gym class. Those are really the 3 places that they're going to be going outside of their classroom. But extended care, we can't do that. So we will make sure to have extra masks if a student does not bring their own, but we certainly encourage students to bring their own masks. But if they don't, as I said, we will have them, and then the students will need to wear those here inside the building and when we go outside for extended care. So now let's go back outside and over to the middle school, and I'll show you a couple more things. Here we go. We're back outside, so let me just give you some points of reference here. So the doorway that you are used to, students, if you've been here before, the doorway that we have used in the past for recess purposes, arrival in the morning, That is no longer the doorway you use for those purposes. The first doorway that I showed you with the dots on the ground, that leads into the auditorium lobby, that is much bigger, much larger, so that we can spread students out very safely. The only reason this doorway will be used is for emergencies like fire drills, that type of thing. But primarily it's going to be used for extended care. So parents, you're used to parking right behind me on the east side of the building. You will continue to do that as you arrive in the morning to drop your child off at extended care and as you're picking up after school. You would still park there and then come to a point, and there again, there's going to be a lot more information about what that looks like and what you're supposed to do, but that doorway is exclusively for extended care. The other thing I wanted to mention is, yes, we still have the playground, we have the blacktop with the basketball courts that the students are used to playing on. We don't have the dots out there yet, but we will put dots because the students know we line up coming in from recess or when we have fire drills, that type of thing. We need to have those dots on the ground. So those are in the process of being done. But I also wanted to mention there are 6 other areas outside here where we will be facilitating recess. So what that does and why we're doing that is that, again, I mentioned earlier, we can keep these students in very small groups. We can't be 100% sure that we will not get COVID. But what we're doing is creating environments that mitigate, that create less of a chance for that to happen and to create very, very, very safe protocols. And again, this has all been done in concert with the Ohio Department of Health. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like when we go to lunch. So here we go. All right, so here is how lunch will function. Again, we are keeping you in extremely small groups of students. You are going to still be seated at the same tables that we've used in the past, but the best way I can describe it is it's almost going to be in a zigzag pattern so that you are spaced 6 feet apart. You're still going to be able to talk with your friends. You're still going to be able to, as I said, have conversation, enjoy each other's company. You're just going to be safely socially distanced. The way you are seated in your classrooms, that is how you're going to be seated in the lunchroom. Again, that just is a way that we can keep that consistency so that if and when there is a COVID case, we have a much smaller group that we are having to quarantine, that type of thing. And all of that would be driven by the Ohio Department of Health. They have given Sandy Nolan, our nurse, and me very, very, very specific information on how that would all happen. And we're very grateful to have their leadership in that. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. As you would exit the auditorium lobby, you'll see these dots along the driveway. And again, this is just to give a point of reference so that the students see where they are going. So this is different from what we've done in the past. You will go down to the doorway where Miss Grace's kitchen is located. That is a much shorter distance to get to the cafeteria. So the students will enter through that doorway. They will go either straight into the cafeteria if they are packing, so we'll probably put the packers in front. They will go into the cafeteria, and then those that are purchasing lunch will get into a line where there are dots. And so they will stand in that line, pick up their lunch, and then go to their assigned seat in the cafeteria. As they are leaving the cafeteria, they will no longer come back through the building to the front. There is a doorway on the north side of this building at the back, and that is where the students will exit. So again, it just prevents this crossover in hallways so that we just maintain safety to the best of our ability. Okay, so most of you have probably opened an email from Miss Grace about our school lunches. If you know anything about Miss Grace, you know that safety and cleanliness and hygiene is at the top of her list. I can tell you every single year when we are inspected twice a year by the Ohio Department of Health, Miss Grace has always received 100% ratings on the kitchen and how she runs our lunch program. No surprise to all of you, I'm sure. So she is going to provide lunches very, very similar to what you have been used to. The only difference is going to be instead of trays, the students will have containers that have lids on them. So when they pick up their lunch, It will be covered in a container that they will then take with them to the cafeteria. Now, the only students that will not be eating in the cafeteria will be the middle school students. The middle school students will be eating in their classrooms. You know, my hope with many of these things that we're putting into place, which it's a lot of safety precautions, but my hope is that even later this year, maybe some of these can be relaxed, but only if it's going to be a safe way to conduct school. So there is a possibility that everything that we've put into place will last all year long, and we're prepared to do that. One of the things that we are going to do to get the students up and out of the classrooms, because they can't be seated in their classrooms all day long. That's not a conducive way of learning. So I mentioned earlier we have all these different spaces for recess. Well, some of those spaces are also going to be treated like outdoor classrooms. So teachers will be able to reserve those different areas here on the 11 acres of property that we have, and they'll be able to then take their students outside for class. Being outside, getting them into the fresh air is going to be really, really important. This room has been converted to a 5th grade classroom. As I mentioned previously, the classroom in the other building where they would be located, those classrooms were not large enough to socially distance the students safely. So this classroom and the technology classroom are now 5th grade classrooms. And obviously that begs the question, what about specials? So the specials will take place in the classrooms. The teachers will rotate through the elementary and middle school classrooms to provide all of the specials. The only change is going to be in elementary. Technology in the elementary will not take place this year. It will take place in the middle school, but all other specials will take place. Gym will be in the gymnasium. It's a huge room, and we can very easily spread out the students, focusing more on personal fitness. So just wanted you to see what this classroom is going to look like. Clearly, again, it's not all ready, it's not all done, but it gives you the picture of what it will look like to be socially distanced in the 5th grade classroom. All right, so as I wrap this up, first of all, thank you for taking the time to watch this. I know that there's a lot of details, and I know that it may feel like there's a lot of these do's and don'ts and what have you, but everything that I've given to you, I've given to you to try to give you a picture of the work that has gone into creating, again, the safest environment that we possibly can based on our public health officials giving us information about how to conduct education here at Grace Christian School. We are not like public schools. We are not as large as public schools, so we can do things differently, and we're grateful to have the ability to do that. What I want you to know is, even though I've laid out all of these details and these kind of do's and don'ts and what have you, I want you to know that the Grace Christian School that you know, that exists, that stays the same. The education stays the same. The grace stays the same. So as we're talking about all these dots and what have you, those are to be helpful. They are not to be punitive. So I want to assure you of that. That is going to exist. That is going to stay the same. That is critical that it stays the same. I wanted to just wrap again, and I've said this many times throughout this. Again, we are relying on the Ohio Department of Health to give us guidance, and through our school nurse to give us the guidance that we need in order to not just open, but to function. But what I want you to know and just remind you is that all of the teachers, all of the staff will be masked, or we will have face shields. We are following the guidelines of ODH. So ODH's guidelines is that they strongly recommend 3rd through 12th, or for us, 3rd through 8th. So 3rd through 8th grade students are masked. We encourage you, please bring your own masks. We do have a lot of masks here, but we want you to bring your own mask. You would be responsible for it. The teachers will not be touching or adjusting or putting masks back on. If a student takes the mask off, they take the mask off. We're not going to manage the masks. But the students, I know many students have become very familiar with them. They are wearing them on a day-to-day basis, and that's wonderful that they're going to wear them here. but that is what we're doing. Those are the guidelines that we are following, what ODH has put out and what Governor DeWine has communicated publicly and then privately through ODH. So hopefully this has been helpful. I wanted this to be encouraging for you to know that we are ready to welcome your children back here to Grace. We are excited to have them back here. We've missed them terribly. We've been apart for a very long time. And I've heard from so many of you about how excited you are, how excited your children are to come back. So we are just very ready for that. So thank you so much for taking this time to watch this video, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. So look for a lot more information to be coming out, the things that I've already mentioned to you, plus you'll be getting some information from Mrs. Nolan. So lots to come. Watch your email boxes. All right. Well, thank you so much. God bless, and we'll see you soon.